Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.
Happy day. It is a day to be happy. You know why? Because you're sucking oxygen. A lot of people are not doing that. A lot of lives that we were able to speak and enjoy and interface with last week are no longer here. So you are. That means that you are you're super blessed. You're super chosen. But you're here. You've got things that you can do to make it better between now and this time next week. And we're here to help you do that. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We are responsible for ourselves, our neighbors, our friends. And when I say we're responsible, that means we have a little bit of bounce that we can do to help them be a little better and help ourselves understand a little better. We've had a very interesting week. Our mission here hasn't changed, just to get us all a little bit better quality of life. We want to respect each other. We want to respect the planet that we are visiting. You know, the planet does not depend on us. Let me say that again, while we all decide whether we want to participate in saving the planet or being what we are. The planet does not need us. They say it's been here millions of years. We want to go back a couple of thousand years and talk about how important we are and how critical we are to God's plan. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's be critical about the plan that we can come together with to keep ourselves comfortably operating on the planet without blowing it up, shooting it up, or doing the crazy things that we do while we're here. And I use the word crazy, and I'm not trying to be politically incorrect, but that's a word that we've used a long time, and it seems applicable to many of the things that we see going on. Crazy just means kind of unorganized, kind of chaotic, not what I'd expect. And so we've had that, and we have it every day. And if you're a black person, it's an echo in your DNA. It's something that's been taking place as we civilize ourselves in a very uncivilized atmosphere, as we walk with pride in a place that's constantly trying to tear down your esteem and any esteem of anybody else that you've been leaning on. That's why it's real critical. Not real critical, because we're going to get along. I mean, as we watched George Floyd's life slip away in real time, we're still here. We understand that the battle is a battle and the war is a war, and that only time will live to completely see the truth. But while we're here, we want to participate in doing the best that we can. Last week, the Oscars. Oscar was a grouch last week for some people, and Oscar was a great highlight for others. Young man who was the producer of the show, I'm sure he and his parents were very, very anticipatory of a great evening, and I hope he wasn't totally disappointed. But at the same time, he completed a show. The package is in the can. It's a doer. It's a great one. Somebody on the stage last week said it was the greatest Oscar show of all time. Will Smith apparently accosted Chris Rock on stage in front of God and everybody. But wait a minute. If you're a wrestling fan or a martial arts fan or boxing, or that wasn't too much of anything. But if you're an acting fan and you see this take place, was it an act? Was it real? I don't know. I've got an opinion, though. I don't know if it was real or not, but I have an opinion. I think that we probably saw a couple of really good actors perform an act that went over so well that it's kind of hard to back up from it. But then again, all you guys know I'm crazy. So with that, I'm blessed to have some guests who are not crazy, who've got strong reputations that people respect all over the world. I've got a Riverside Citizen of the Year here or something like that. You know, I've got really smart people around me. That's something that I advise all of us to try to do. Is try to find some smart people, lean on them, and get them to squeeze out some good information for you. I even have a smart person on the phone, our friend Mr. Oscar Milwaukee. He's a philosopher. He's a herbalist. He's a smart man. We have Jelani, my man. Pull the microphone up a little closer to you.
Oh, I will.
Yes. Jelani Bakari. He is a visionary, an activist, a very smart, involved person. Jelani, I'm not going to have you, do anything super special to demonstrate your high level of intellect. You've already kind of heard that by joining me today. A lot of people are going to think you're crazy being here with me. But I'd like to ask you, Miss Janice,
Sure.
and you, Jelani, and Oscar, you're on the phone. One of the first things during this break I'd like to ask you to think about is when you saw or heard, in your case, Miss Janice, about the Chris Rock beat down. My goodness. Did it look real? What did you think? Well, the first thoughts that you had about that, I'd like to know when we come back from the break. And what was the first thing that changed your thoughts as we go along? We're going to talk this thing through, do a little critical thinking, have a little fun, but remembering that what happened on that stage is really affecting a lot of people right now. One of those things is the city of San Bernardino has a new police chief, a black one. His name is Daryl Goodman. I like his name. There are implications about that. I know they didn't make the decision as a result of the Chris Rock, or did they? I don't know. But our mental health and how we look at the world is a lot based on how the world is telling us it's looking at us. And we know that we're being watched. Look over your shoulder during this break. We'll be right back and tell us who's watching you and tell us what you saw. We will be right back. Thank you.
KCAA.
This is my piece. Share the facts, not the virus. Vaccines don't control us. That's just game to divide us. They help build our immunity for safer communities. Natural remedies and herbs, unproven scientific verbs for fighting COVID-19. Now hear me scream. Vaccines and boosters, effective, science-directed for staying protected. Facts.
Find a vaccine near you at myturn.ca.gov. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
This is KCAA.
All right, this is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. I want to thank the mood master, Mr. Anthony Garcia. He's going to be, as usual, laying a little baseline for us to lean on as we talk through the program. And Yolanda and Melanie are here from Taki Productions, and they're doing the thing that they do, which is kind of like glue, holds things together. We really appreciate that. My question before we went to break to our guest, Askia, how are you?
I'm doing fine, my brother.
You tend to be one of those guys that does not just fine, but does good because of some of the things you do to help folks out. All right, I asked that question, Askia, where you have Miss Janice Roots Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Roots, and I'd say that easily because that's my mother's name. You know, and
Okay.
I've been saying that for a lot of years. Unique situation with you.
Right.
You're not you don't watch TV or too much stuff like that, I guess. But you did not see the great slap that, but you heard about it.
I did.
And you're, and you're in the world of diversity and tell people a little bit about what you do.
No, I'm an equity implementer. So, racial equity is the 95% of what I do every day, and the other 5% is probably watch Asian TV or something. So I don't watch the news. I don't listen to the news. I generally don't read the news. I might see headlines perchance. I did see that headline, and I just kept going because I just... The work I do, I don't want to be that deep in a lot of other crap that's going on, okay? I know there's war. I know people are dying unreasonably. And so someone mentioned it to me.
And then you saw the headline.
No, I saw the headline, but then someone mentioned it to me, and I said, I think I saw the headline somewhere.
Okay.
But I didn't bother to read it.
So that escapism didn't really help, though, did it?
Well,
or does it?
It does. It does. It keeps me totally out of all of this negative, crazy,
but in your
stuff.
world of equity. Okay, now the first thing we talk about equity, the reason we say equity is because there's a lack of it.
Well, there's a lack of equality, so we need equity to get there, right? It's going to take a while.
So So what did you see about the incident? Do you have feelings about it?
Well, I guess someone asked me my opinion, and I told them I thought, right off the top of my head, it sounds obviously, one, like there's going to be some kind of possible repercussions. I didn't see it, so I can't say it was staged or not. But, I mean, you can either go with it was uncalled for, it was, they feel so free now that it doesn't matter, right? That all the rest of us feel like this is dirty laundry, and they just feel like this is the world we live in, and we don't have to, we can act like.
Which day is that you're talking about?
I'm talking about Will Smith, maybe he feels free enough that he can do what he wants in the world. I don't know.
How does that make you feel? Well, think about it. Hold on to that. Mr. Jalani Bakari. When you saw, or did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
You saw it. You were watching real time.
No, absolutely.
So
not.
when you saw it, you were looking for it. You were expecting it. Then, if you didn't see it in real time, does that mean you heard about it on the news and then were anticipating it as you saw it?
I received text.
So the first time you actually visualized
media platforms.
The first time you saw it,
Social
what was your response?
Fake.
Okay. As you prepared yourself to look at it, what was your thoughts? What were your thoughts?
Fake.
Okay, so to you, for these guys to be carrying on, this had to be a setup, right?
Well, in my opinion, it's television.
Okay.
First and foremost, it was the lowest ratings that they have ever had. So what makes ratings rise? Controversy. So how much money are you willing to be paid to be smacked on TV?
I'll answer that question.
If it was World Wrestling, it would be called WWE SmackDown.
But I could do it for a quarter price. I'd take half the money, whatever was involved.
So when I'm watching Television, I do understand that its primary purpose is to sell you Fruit Loops, BMWs, and T-shirts or whatever the case may be. But it's capitalizing commercial property. And so right now, Chris Rock, for taking that smack, was charging $37 a ticket, but now he's charging $147 a ticket. He's not losing.
Let's remember that Chris isn't selling those tickets. He's performing for a set amount of money and a portion probably. So the ticket companies that get the first shot at those tickets bought all of those tickets.
WIN.
And they are going to WIN because it's not against the law to scalp those tickets.
Capitalize.
As long as you don't do it at the event.
It's been right.
Yeah, so,
capitalize off of controversy. So
period.
if we were to ask anything, would our major question be for most people who buy into things such as television? Would they ask the question, "Oh, I can't wait to see who's going to be the host next year"?
That's all. That all sounds good, and it sounds like a good. Your view sounds like a good mental acrobatic move to not feel like, oh, look what they did. I don't know. We're Askia.
Yes.
Yes, sir. You're a philosopher. You look forward to things that bring controversy so that you can, point out certain aspects. Did you see in real time the slap?
I saw it about 30 minutes later.
Okay, but and as you saw it, had someone called you and told you to look for it, or what? Okay.
I saw somebody called me and told me to look at it. First of all, I was in belief that it could even happen. That a man could be, on. I look at it in a number of different ways. I mean, that a man can be so taken off that he would have to slap another man for something he believed that was an insult to his wife, not knowing if the man even knew that she had a problem. It's not a way to handle things like that. I knew Robin Harris very well. My cousin had the club. And I remember many times that brothers would be waiting for Robin after the show because of something he had said,
He did call people out in the audience, so I know that. I've been in his audience.
Baby.
Well, what comedian doesn't?
Yeah. Well,
if you sit in the front row, you kind of asking to be part of the show.
It's a comedy show.
It's a comedy show. You didn't have to sit in the front. Not with Robin Harris.
Yeah, Robin Harris was crazy as hell.
Well, see,
that's my boy.
See, now, and we use that kind of term because we know that he didn't mind swimming against the tide. He didn't mind swimming with all of the filth that's in the river. And, we aren't in charge of what's in the river that we swim in. Black folk, white folk, all of us are subject to environmental filth that has nothing to do with us. But we're in it. What are we going to do with it? I always say carry a bag so you can put a little trash in it as you go do what you do. People think I'm kidding about that, but I'm for real. One of the things, and now we're into our cultural response here. My mother always told me make it a little cleaner or better while you're there and be that way when you leave than it was when you got there. And all the head nodding I see around me, my mother wasn't the only smart, loving mother who put children in this room. So we've got a lot to look at in terms of. Well, go on. You sound like you have something you want to say. Go on.
I think in terms of I look at it in different ways. It's like this. When we were kids, we used to play the dozens with each other.
Some of us still do.
Your mama stayed up all night studying for a blood test. Stupid stuff that we would say to each other. But one of the rules and it's one thing saying a joke about your mother with you and your friends. Another thing if your mother's there and you tell a joke, about your mom in front of your mom. That's a whole different issue. Not, so it boils down to, did Chris Rock, did you know that she had this problem with her hair? I mean, this disease, or did you not know?
Let's talk about that.
Even give him.
Let's stick with that for a minute. We're going to take this short break. We'll be right back, and let's talk about alopecia, and let's talk about shaved heads. Let's talk about things that are important that we don't know about, that we deal with every day, not knowing that we're dealing with them.
KCAA Loma Linda.
Anyone can get long COVID, even Isaiah, age 26.
I got COVID in October 2020, and 3 weeks later, I started having long-term problems. I used to be able to dance all day, but now just getting up gives me chest pain. I can't comprehend words at times. It's honestly been an even scary journey.
Getting vaccinated against COVID-19 is the best way to prevent long COVID. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find a vaccine or booster near you.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at KCAAradio.com.
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, and we are here solving the world's number 5, 6, 7, 8 problem. We'll get to one eventually, and that one is probably going to be how to make you rich. I know that's what you really want to hear. Right, that does put it back over where it really is, isn't it? We thought we were here worried about all the poor people in the world, all the hungry people. But if I could make you rich, yeah, right. Folks, there's a little selfish thing in all of us, and we have to acknowledge that. If we don't, we're going to be fooling ourselves when it comes time to be Superman or Batman or the hero or someone who actually steps up to help another person. Alopecia is a disease that stops people from being able to grow hair. I'm not an expert on it at all. I know a lot of people who have shaved heads. And I know that there's a lot of people that folks make fun of in quiet, make fun of in visual. I'm sorry. Jada Pinkett is just too pretty, too fine, too beautiful to me for anybody to be able to say they're making fun of her. Go for it. I cannot see any aspect of her that you're going to make me say, yeah, po Jada. But then that's from an ignorant position, and probably a little sexist involved in that too. I did not hear Chris Rock make a joke about alopecia. I heard him make a joke about a beautiful woman who had a shaved head. Now maybe that's lacking on my part, but I didn't see how that should aggravate, to that point. And I may be wrong about that. If you guys have how do you feel about that, Jelani? Janice, how do you feel about that?
I'm a little bit just stunned about the whole thing. So first of all, it's one thing if Chris Rock was saying it and, it just came off the top of his head, and so Will Smith got mad and just slapped him. That's Will holding up his woman's honor, however you want to look at that. The other side of that coin is if the producers wrote this into the script, now we're talking about, the minstrel show and, the slaves playing around on the plantation.
Whoa, let's stand on that rock for a minute. I thought I was pretty smart. I didn't even come up with this. That it wasn't even Chris's joke. The possibility that the producers wrote this into the show, I had not even. Jelani, had you thought about that?
I told you from the beginning.
Well, okay.
I think
so
the
you
whole thing was part of WWE
I'm
SmackDown.
kind of shallow. I'm thinking that that it's fake, but that Chris just rolled up on it, and he and Will just kind of played that out. But whoa, you really hit it on the head. Where did the joke originate? My goodness.
The joke originated in 1600. That's where the joke originated.
Oh, we got to bring you back every week.
And we're still playing our part.
And we're still reading a script.
The one question, first and foremost, she says, is 8 years ago? When was it when they were saying Oscar's so white? So now Oscar sat down and let additional individuals play a key role for the first time in producing, first time in directing. You had Chris Rock and you had all of us sitting in the front row. To whom? And if it was so white, why is it now that we take the stage as glorifying, giving credence to something we were asking folks to boycott. And then if all of that is swirling around and he really did believe that stuff, then why would you smack somebody when I've heard way worse things about your wife? Why? What would make it on that television station that night, that reason?
It's like you're saying, if it's real and he's really insulted, my question is, what if the comedian was Wesley Snipes? Was he going to go up there and slap Wesley Snipes? I don't think honor... See, this is where my little doubts come in. I thought it was fake all the way, real fake. You know, nice, cute skit, fake, and he's going to show you I didn't really slap him, I just slapped my blah, blah, blah. But then when Will walked back toward his seat and got to his seat and amped it up, that's when I started saying to myself the same thing we said about Richard Pryor's album cover when he came out. That time they said that so-and-so is crazy. And I didn't intend mentally to use the N-word, but I did. In my mind, I said, sure. Well, it's crazy. Well, who's crazy now? Okay, now I'm into the imagery that goes beyond the two on the stage. This is where you're making me say minstrel show at a hateful level now, because you're reminding me that, whoa, there's not too many things that go on at the Oscars that's not scripted.
Right.
And I played myself all the way out of pocket, thinking about the independence of the MC or the presenter and how they've got their moments. But you mess up your moment, you may not get invited again. And I go back to what I said when I opened up this segment. If I can make you rich, you get a little blind to a lot of things else that are going on.
Can we just talk about John Wayne in 1972 having to be held down, trying to go up onto the stage at the Oscars and accost a female, a Native American woman?
One of the
why
questions I
why
have
do
here
people
is,
have selective amnesia?
Was this the worst thing that ever happened at the Oscars? And the reason I asked that question is because I've never really spent a lot of time watching the Oscars.
Me either, but everything's coming out now.
Mm-hmm.
And if, okay, Will did that, what is it about protecting and all this other stuff that a woman who, when she went up to speak, that you would allow a man to physically want to accost her, throw her out? They had to hold him down.
Cite the date again. What year was that?
1972.
It's a wonder they didn't let him get up there and slap her around. I mean, the world was totally sexist at that point. Totally sexist. Go look at some game shows from 1972 and watch how they grab them and pinch them and hug them and kiss them and talk about them like they're dumb and like they're not even in the room. And them, I'm talking about women. I'm talking about you women. I'm talking about you women who accept this treatment. Anyway. A moment of silence.
West,
moment of silence. Okay. Yeah. Well, and now you say something like Kanye West, and I don't know why you said it or what you mean.
No, because he said the slaves accepted being slaves. I don't think women accept.
Well, he accepted it. He dove into it head first.
No, I think Kanye. But I'm
talking about Kanye. Kanye jumped into a river that was full of dead black bodies.
And loved it.
Men who had been great at some point, who had been Kardashianized. Right. Okay? And look at the list of the Kardashians. I'm just saying, okay? So we've gotten into a cultural explosion here, and this is where I want to point out again that this is just part of the mental fracturing that we as black folk have as we look at. We hear some news. We hear something about a shooting. Ooh, I hope it wasn't no black folk. Right?
Okay,
I mean, we hope nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
But one of the things we say out loud is, man, I hope that guy wasn't black.
Well, right. I mean, in comparison to white people, every time any one of us does something, we have to represent an entire race of people in this
Absolutely.
country
And
or around the world.
And
so,
Will and Chris understand
Sure,
that because that's part of the take that they have when they tell people we're going to bring folks to the screen.
Well, and how do you then you say, okay, I gave you your chance and you acted up?
Now, you know
right?
what? I have an expert in the room who deals with diversity, who deals with, matter of fact, it's you. And your job is one that you, quite frankly, could expect a call from the Academy because you are Miss Fix-It. You are the lady who can tell them where they've gone wrong in their attempt to be diversified and the equitable and doing things. And here's the Academy. Oh, Miss Janice, we've been getting beat up for years about not having enough black folk involved in the Oscars. And this year we loosened up. We set it up. And did you see what happened? And Miss Janice, can you help us? How do we deal with our Negroes now? I mean, our black folk now. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about,
do.
right?
I
Okay.
do, absolutely.
Okay, well, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, hopefully you will earn this $1 million that you're going to charge the Academy for answering this question. We'll be right back, folks. And I hope you're having a little fun as you realize how important imagery is, as you realize how important mental health is, as you realize how confused and enslaved, pretended to be free, pretended to be part of the world that we live in, who are constantly worried about their children as they go out the door, but we got to act like it's okay. Wow, we'll be right back.
This is KCAA.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
There is a lot of information out there about COVID-19 in kids, so it's important to share the facts, not the virus. While COVID-19 vaccines are new, the science behind them is based on decades of research. Clinical studies have confirmed they are safe and effective at protecting kids and the whole family. Share the facts, not the virus. Talk to your child's doctor or visit myturn.ca.gov to find a vaccine near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
KCAA.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. I heard some music last night. My daughter was playing it, and it was really, really some smooth, cool music. I'm a person that tends to make up my own lyrics because I don't hear that well and really not listen that well, I guess, because I'm enjoying the music. But the music I was listening to last night, I did not know if it was gospel music or if it was the blues.
Well,
because when we got to a point where you could say, sing it, you could either say, hey, baby, or you could say, yay, God. I just, that's part of our thing. You think we partying and we praying. And that's a good thing. We need to be acknowledging a higher power because the lower powers that deal with us here on the earth tend to try to knock us down, beat us up. But they do that to everybody. I mean, what Russia is doing to Ukraine is insane, and calling them their brothers and cousins. But that's what we're dealing with. Okay, so we have a situation where there was, and this is fake stuff. I speak convincingly sometimes, and I have people, I'm not here to fool you. I'm just setting an atmosphere. I am pretending to be the president of the Oscars, the Academies, and all that. And I'm hiring Miss Janice, to help me straighten out my situation. She's highly qualified. This is her job. Tell us again your.
I'm a racial equity implementer, so I do
racial
racial equity programs.
Implementer.
Yeah.
So here I am. I've tried to implement some racial equity with my melanated members of the Academy, and they've come in this year, and we did some things that are certainly going to help my ratings next year, because they've asked me to try to put them on 6 months earlier so we could, ride this way. But I'm concerned. How do I handle, should I use the word handle? How do I respond to this racial inequity, over equity situation and how it's happened here? What's your advice?
You need some
should I just let these Negroes be Negroes or black folk? And what should I call them?
So first of all, you call us African Americans, you call us black. That's your choice. But those are your only choices. And, you might call us as a group with other people of color and that have been either underrepresented or oppressed people of color, maybe. But if you're talking to me, then you could call me black or African American. That's first. Second, let me say this. I've been doing racial equity work for a while. And at one point in time, maybe 20% of it was my work. But today, it's almost 100%. And I will never know enough. I will never know enough because I haven't been here 400 years. So I have to assume that because this is my area of expertise and not yours, that you don't know enough either. And you should have some training about what took place in this country and why we have to have equity. Not why we should have equity, but why it's required and why you want to do it the right way. And the only way you can do something the right way is to understand what the problem is. And I don't think you fully understand what the problem is, because if you had cancer, you would not go into your primary care physician and say, okay, give me some prescription.
A foot doctor.
You would be right, a foot doctor, a dentist. You would want to go see a specialist, an oncology specialist, and the best one in the country, no less. So I would have you take the best training in the country I know of. And it's only 2 days. And it will give you end-to-end structural and systemic racism, how it occurred, and what it looks like right now. And so you can see then what it looks like inside of the academy. And then we can talk about trauma, training you about trauma, because everybody has some trauma. Everybody has some trauma. So the one thing as you go into your work you don't want to do is cause more. And by saying things like, as a white male, I didn't know, is going to make a lot of people angry and hurt, because after 400 years they feel like you should know. And especially being in the media, you should know. So if you say that, I'm just telling you up front, those are kinds of things that could hurt people.
So as we back up and look at this, either whether it was a real and he really got slapped, or it was a skit and he didn't get slapped. The point is the controversy is here, and what do you do with it? And as black people, I think we're not stuttered at all. I don't think we, in the long or short term, are overly denied self-esteem or flushed with it as a result of this activity. Like you said, Jelani, Will is doing Chris's show has been, people are even more interested in hearing and seeing what he's got to say, and he's smart enough not to say too much at all right now, except to complete his tour and maybe add some more dates to it. Go ahead, I'll ask you.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of an old African proverb of 3,000 years ago. It said, before we became physical, we were at the light level, but one day we looked down at our shadow and we gave a reality for the illusion.
Yep.
A lot of times we see the illusion. We don't see the reality.
Well, and even in the illusion, when the illusion is manipulated, and what you see, you have been taught to think that when you see it. So it becomes so sinister.
You think it's the reality.
Right. And you begin to act based upon what you think is real. So that's why I said Wade Noble said, and he dealt with it from definition and control. If someone can define your reality, they can control the way you do things. And so so someone sets up this definition of angry black man protecting his wife, which gives life to 1,000 topics and subjects and folks' energy to make comment on it. But as others are capitalizing off this cultural abuse, what are we doing in our communities? What do we have set up to tell our story, to give our opinion, to bring life 400 years or wherever we're at in the inland Southern California, the 200 years we've been here, and what's happened? Where's our place of understanding and reckoning?
It's a fact is that we wear two masks. We wear one that allows us to see clearly and go forward, and we wear the one that allows us to confuse and hold steady whoever's looking at us.
Yeah.
Okay, because
we see
our
smoke
action,
and mirrors and so.
our action line. Go on.
No, I said we see it smoke and mirrors in so many different ways. We look at the continent of Africa. They tell us we're the poorest country. We're the poorest continent in the world, but everybody coming there to get our products.
Our riches.
Right.
You know,
and it's like this
we're
situation.
the poorest country, but everybody come to get rich in their own country.
Right.
No, then you take the African American community. Anytime another nationality come into America, they come into the African American community and open up their businesses to get their start. But we're still under the myth that we're poor in so many different ways.
Well, we are poor in terms of our willingness to get
and
out
our
here.
mindset.
And we'll take the front line when we're pushed, but we need to push ourselves to take the front line. Here we are looking at a circumstance where we have two people who are highly regarded in the world of entertainment. And they put us in a situation where they're trying to make us pick one as a hero and one as a zero. And that's the trick that we, I think, should not fall for. Will is still a great actor, still a great writer, and now he's demonstrated he's really got another level of drama that he can get into. And this is a world of forgiving. I don't know how many, all of these drug rehab centers were not set up for black people. Okay, and we're forgiving white people all the time. I will do whatever you got to do. I forgave you yesterday, you know. And the reason I was mad wasn't because of any of that. I was just a little jealous about Jada, you know. But that's
truth come out.
Truth comes out. My wife already knew I like Jada though. Okay, she thought I was more favoring Halle because Halle looked like my wife, but. Jada, cool. My whole point here is we should not be throwing away our heroes and allowing others to make them become zeros because of things that we do that become unacceptable because we do it, but it was okay if they do it. Once again, one of the top things on TV is wrestling and MMA where people are beating each other, obviously, or apparently to death.
What types of video games do they play?
Well, at the same time, we see young white kids being able to walk around with guns and shoot people and get off with that. But we want to hang.
Well, yeah, and things like
we're going
this.
to take a short break. We're going to take the short break. We'll come right back, and we're going to close up with our solutionary attitude as usual. We're not here to beat ourselves down or let anyone beat us down. I'm here to pump you up. I want you to get out there in case I need your help. I want you to be strong and smart as you can be. And I'm trying to be that way in case I can help you. We'll be right back.
You've tuned in to KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Anyone can get long COVID, even Isaiah, age 26.
I got COVID in October 2020, and 3 weeks later, I started having long-term problems. I used to be able to dance all day, but now just getting up gives me chest pain. I can't comprehend words at times. It's honestly been a scary journey.
Getting vaccinated against COVID-19 is the best way to prevent long COVID. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find a vaccine or booster near you.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.
Now, you know, one of the things that has just been brought to our attention, several things. One, I can't get past the thing that the whole show was scripted. The other aspect of it is that it's just been brought to our attention by Shalonda Hill of Tiki Productions that not only did Will resign from the Academy. I don't know if you were like me, you thought that he meant, well, he ain't going to be, a dues-paying member. You're saying that he resigned from the board of directors from the Academy. Is that correct?
I don't know about the board of directors, but his...
Come back to the microphone. I'm sorry. I thought we could hear you because of the magnificence of your voice.
Get to the bottom of it.
No, but I wanted folks to hear your voice because you are...
Well, last night I did my little research, and it says that Will prematurely resigned. He put in his resignation.
His term wasn't up.
Before they made the decision of what they were going to do, the consequences. So, and then another actor walked out alongside of Will. You have to Google it. This happened about 17 hours ago. So that, to me, would be the latest update. Yeah, if you guys are going to do it.
Melanie, would you come to the microphone, please?
Yeah, the membership.
He resigned from membership of the Academy.
But he still will get invited to everything. He just lost his voting rights.
Well,
that's what that means. Well, I'm just saying that's what it means. He won't. He still gets everything.
So he's going to be kind of like most other black folk in the country.
Yeah, if that's what he wants to do. But I also agree that it could have been staged because both of them have taken authenticity classes through Hollywood, and we know that you guys are going to talk about alopecia. Jada have been short-haired all this time,
and looking good.
And G.I. Jane, whatever movie that they're promoting, it just works. And then also, I think this was a black Oscar, like first time something.
First time.
So
Produced and
black
directed.
people can't. We always have a fight. So they have to keep the stigma. You can't let black people, do stuff like that. This is my true thing. So I'm like, okay, the stigma was there. You invite black people, there's going to be a fight. And then also, you guys need to catch up on what Denzel said. When you get to the top or when that special big moment comes, you have to watch out for the devil. He will creep in because you have to think this was a big moment for Will as well.
Well, yeah, and when you're at the top of the rock feeling really good, you are not possibly as defensive-minded as you should be.
Yes.
And you start believing that everybody around you really is cheering for you, and you might say or do something that you wouldn't have normally done. You wore the wrong mask. We see that occur at such a high level of frequency that it's almost a plot. We could go back to, I don't know, we could start with Jack Johnson. We could go look at Joe Louis. We could look at, start looking at actors, and certainly Bill's name's going to come up in there. when you get good, there are things that happen to you, especially, I don't know, because I'm black, maybe it appears to have more impact for me than it does. I don't know. But I do know that, watch out, you're getting good, you better watch what you're doing, so somebody's going to try to knock you off course.
Jim Carrey did state his voice, and he said that Will should have been escorted right up out of there. And he was not. He went on to enjoy the rest of the show, accept his awards, give a real touching speech, and Jim Carrey is on fire about that.
Oh, yeah, because now the big issue would have been if the police and boy, do you believe that they did not want to arrest that brother on national TV?
No, they wanted to.
Ooh,
it would have created more. It would have sold more things.
Oh, yes. It would have, the politics of the nation took place on that stage last Sunday.
Well, that's the national or international televising of black on black crime.
Yes.
And it's BS, okay? It is another way to make us distracted from the fact that nobody's resolved anything in this country since George Floyd got murdered. There is nothing perfect. Nobody's fixed anything. Yeah, there are different little efforts here, a bunch of resolutions on racism as a public health crisis, but nothing has happened. And just so people don't be distracted by this kind of crap.
So it was a skit.
Okay.
It was a skit, even if the slap was real. The whole idea is that the imagery and story that it told about black people is part of the old stereotype that they've been telling, the same old...
a quick 15 seconds. Gil Scott-Heron said very poignantly, they tell lies and put them in the truth as disguise, but in reality, the truth won't be televised.
But one thing
Go ahead, Oscar, please.
I think one thing that black people, our community as a whole, have to get off. We always jump into camps, right or wrong. Chris Rock was right. Will Smith was right defending his woman. Can't you see any commonality in any damn thing? It could be a point of view. Sometimes we don't find medium ground.
Let me jump back on the them and the they. We are the ones that are thinking and talking. With the people who see the problem are the only ones responsible for solving it. So as you, a thinker, a philosopher, a man of opinion, and willing to express it, express your opinion, not to try to make other people absorb it, because they just need to hear it. If your success is going to be based on, in your mind, on them saying, okay, Oscar, I believe you and I'm changing my life, ask Jesus. Okay? You do your thing and you will get to heaven. We'll see you at the big black barbecue in heaven because you're doing the right thing and pushing for it. But just like night and day, just because there's people who tell the truth, the reason you can tell the truth is because there's people out there who are depending on a lie.
Can I say this one thing?
You got about 30 seconds.
Okay, I got a 94-year-old man, Mr. Jenkins. He told me he said one time there was a turtle and a fish, and the turtle went into the water, and the fish said, where you been, Mr. Turtle? Turtle said, I've been on land. The fish said, you lying. What the hell is land? The turtle said, well, they got insects, they got people, they got trees, mountains on land. And the fish said, you lying. And then the turtle said, and it's dry, too. And the fish said, I know you lying. What the hell is dry? The turtle said, let's talk about something else. You can't talk to a fish about something dry.
Right. And you cannot over-explain things to people who have no basis.
They have no clue what you're talking about. And sometimes we try to convince and saying, okay, what's the commonality?
Let me applaud those who have decided to listen to Empire Talks Back every Sunday morning. They are the ones who will take the word and spread the word and push it right. We're not sitting around listening and talking to no dummies at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. Those folks that decide to listen to us have made a decision, and we appreciate it. I also appreciate the folks who come in and support the giving of the show. Jelani, Miss Janice, thank you very much. Askia, I really appreciate that I can get you to join us at a last-minute notice. My mood master, Anthony Garcia, Yolanda Hill, Melanie, you guys are wonderful. God bless you. Thank you, Eric. We'll see you next week under two circumstances. One, if the good Lord's willing. Two, if the creek don't rise. And I told you to learn how to swim.
KCAA.